They need us. We really don't need them.
He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed.
Well, it appears that Canada's new Prime Minister didn't waste any time following suit with his predecessor, and most of the world, as a matter of fact, by quickly rebuking President Donald Trump, specifically on the idea that Canada would become the 51st state.
I am proud of the response of Canadians who are making their voices heard and their wallets felt. I am grateful for how our provinces are stepping up to the fight, because when we are united, we are Canada strong. The Canadian government has rightly retaliated and is rightly retaliating with our own tariffs that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impact here in Canada.
As we know, Trump used most of his time during his unhinged presser yesterday not to ease concerns of investors who are selling off in droves.
Getting down to close to session lows. The Dow is down about 540 points. Folks, it is the S&P that appears to be about to close in correction territory, down 76%.
Or reassure the American people who are witnessing their 401ks plummet, all while Trump does nothing to reassure them that a recession isn't as inevitable as it seems.
Are you worried about a recession? Maria Bartiromo asked you and you kind of hesitated.
I'll tell you what, of course you hesitate.
Who knows?
But to reinforce his want to annex Canada and Greenland.
And to be honest with you, Canada only works as a state. It doesn't. We don't need anything they have. As a state, it would be one of the great states anyway. This would be the most incredible country visually. If you look at a map, they drew an artificial line right through it between Canada and the U.S. Just a straight artificial line. Somebody did it a long time ago, many, many decades ago, and makes no sense.
A person who worships at the altar of Donald Trump will kneel before him, not stand up to him.
Well, new Prime Minister Mark Carney made his views abundantly clear on where he stands.
My honor to respond to the Governor-General's request that I form a government. And it's a solemn duty to serve as Prime Minister at this time of great consequence for our country.
And when you're in Europe, are you going to be seeking assurances from Canada's allies that this country will never become America's 51st state? And when would it be an appropriate time for you to take that message to the U.S. President?
Well, I've been clear, personally I've been clear, the ministers behind me, I think to an individual, when asked, have been clear, that we will never, ever, in any way, shape or form, be part of the United States. America is not Canada. Look at the ceremony we just had. You could not have had that ceremony. You would not have that ceremony in America.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Views that were also echoed by Greenland's outgoing Prime Minister, who sharply rejected Trump's call that his country, which is a territory of Denmark, become a US territory, saying, quote, "Don't keep treating us with disrespect, enough is enough." But I'd say there's a better chance of Tiffany Trump making the next family picture with Donald than there is those words being received by the president.
I hate it. And basically, I don't know what he's aiming at.
Me personally, I want to stick with Danish government.
Since re-entering the White House for his second non-consecutive term, the president, who we were all told would end American interventionism, has repeatedly discussed taking over Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal.
Very important. You know, we have a couple of bases on Greenland already, and we have quite a few soldiers, and maybe you'll see more and more soldiers go there. I don't know. What do you think about that, Pete? So, what's your vision for the potential annexation of Greenland and getting the potential? Yeah. Well, I think it'll happen, and I'm just thinking, I didn't give it much thought before, but I'm sitting with a man that could be very instrumental. You know, Mark, we need that for international security, not just security, international. We have a lot of our favorite players, you know, cruising around the coast, and we have to be careful. And we'll be talking to you. It's a very appropriate, really a very appropriate question.
There's an issue in the high north, so the Arctic. So what you did, so when it comes to Greenland, yes or not joining the US, I would leave that outside for me this discussion, because I don't want to drag NATO in that.
All while humouring some cryptic hypotheticals on acquiring land in Ukraine, and who can forget turning Gaza into another resort that he can bankrupt.
I would like to see a ceasefire from Russia, and we have, not been working in the dark. We've been discussing with Ukraine land and pieces of land that would be kept and lost and all of the other elements of a final agreement. There's a power plant involved, a very big power plant involved. Who's going to get the power plant and who's going to get this and that? And so.
But here's the kicker, right? Opposition to Trump's plans are not just coming from leaders of those territories or Democrats or liberal elites.
We're angry and we're worried and we're anxious as British Columbians, as Canadians, about the unpredictable and chaotic actions of the president as he works to apparently try to collapse the U.S. economy and bring Canada with it. And we can't stand by as we know that he is going to continue to bring out unpredictable executive orders, directions that include direct attacks, not just on Canada, but on now the European Union, on other countries around the world. For our part, our job is to protect BC jobs, protect BC families, and part of doing that work needs to be that we have the tools to be able to respond as quickly as the changes are coming from Trump. He has no regard for the chaos that he's causing because we feel this is part of his strategy to hurt the Canadian economy and to force us into his vision of annexation to the United States of America, redrawing our borders and access to our water.
I mean, just look at the response at Republican-held town halls across the country.
Yeah.
Do your job.
Yeah.
Stand up to Trump. Do your job that you were sent there to do.
Yeah.
To represent us all.
Thank you.
That's nothing to say.
Thank you for that feedback.
I'm lying. I'm a veteran. You
True.
don't give a fuck about me. I got this right. You don't get to tell me what you want. You don't get to take away our rights. You don't get to take our own stuff. You don't get to do this to us.
You support the annexation of Canada and/or Greenland, and this is a yes or no question. I don't want you to wander off into the woods. I don't want to hear about your latest week in your office. Okay, so I'm trying to get your opinion on this as a yes or no. Do you support Trump on annexing Canada or Greenland? And do you like the way he treats the premier or the president of Canada, calling him governor? Is that the way you do as a diplomat? Is that the way the United States should act to our closest neighbors? You know?
The no's in there. Let me answer the first one. And then there was one that really stuck out that I'd like to also answer. I believe your first question that you wanted yes or no is, do I support annexing Greenland and Canada? The short answer to that is no, I do not.
Republican leaders are being met with staunch pushback by fellow Republicans who vehemently disagree with Trump's strategy.
For Social Security and Medicare as key targets, he said there will be steep reductions. Elon Musk said Social Security was a Ponzi scheme. I'm so scared once these things are gone, you're not going to be able to help because he's also ruining the stock market. So people who had a median income won't be able to help the people who have no food to eat. So please pay attention.
All right. A strategy that has saw his approval ratings plummet to new lows.
Et cetera, that the Democratic messaging actually has been going pretty well. So talking about they're trying to cut your health care while giving tax breaks to the rich. If you look at the latest Quinnipiac poll, there's over 50% disapproval of Trump himself, how he's handling the economy, how he's handling the federal workforce, how he's handling Ukraine and Russia, how he's handling trade with Mexico, how he's handling trade with Canada. So basically, he's underwater on everything. And a lot of that is due to the fact that Democrats are out there at town halls, like Jason Crow, for instance, held a town hall. He's a representative in Colorado. 1,300 people showed up to that. And there was tons of social feed that came out of that. And we know about the Republicans having town halls and then having to run away or asking questions like, what do you think of Doge? And expecting people to say something positive, and then they're screaming.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.